Metalheads, welcome back to the Friday 13th YouTube channel. Today I've got an absolute fantastic progressive power metal album for you. This is one of the best albums of this year so far. And this is by a band called Witherfall. Now these guys have just about to release their new album. It's called Sounds of the Forgotten and it's released on Deathwave Records. Now if you're a fan of Symphony X, Sanctuary, Nevermore, Evergrey, Psychotic Waltz, with the technicality of Death and Cynic, this is a band you really need to check out. This is a brilliant album, folks. So I'm going to talk about the album now and the band. Check it out, metalheads. Now, these guys were formed back in 2013 from the US. An absolute fantastic band. Since forming, this band have released 4 albums and 1 EP. And with the band's debut album released in 2017, which was entitled Nocturnes and Requiems, the lineup for this album would be Joseph Michael on vocals and keyboards, who's an absolute fantastic vocalist, guys. If you're a fan of Warrel Dane's vocals, this guy is very, very close to Warrel Dane. A unique singer, very, very powerful indeed. Also, the guitarist on this debut album would be Jake Dreyer, who's a fantastic guitarist. He's done some great music with this band. We'd also have Anthony Crawford on bass guitar, with original drummer Adam Sagan, who sadly passed away in 2016, a fantastic drummer, sadly missed. Now, the band released their debut album in 2017, which was called Nocturnes and Requiems. Absolute brilliant album, folks. If you've not heard it, check this one out. You really need to check out this album. In fact, you need to check out all their albums. So this debut album, the lineup would be Joseph Michael on vocals and keyboards. Also on this debut album, we would have Jake Dreyer on guitars, a brilliant guitarist. Bass guitar would be Anthony Crawford, and drummer would be Adam Sagan, who sadly passed away in 2016. Absolute phenomenal drummer, but the debut album is amazing, guys, so check it out. So, since the band released their debut album, the next album will be called A Prelude to Sorrow. This was released in 2018, followed by the EP Vintage. This was released in 2019. The band would release their next album, which was called Curse of Autumn Fall, released in 2021. And then the new album, Sounds of the Forgotten, which is about to come out in a couple of days' time, is an absolute star-pin album. It's fantastic, folks. So this new album would consist of the following members. Joseph Michael on vocals, would have Anthony Crawford on bass, would have Jake Dreyer on guitars, and for the recording of the album on drums, would use Marco Minnemann, with Gerry Hirshfeld on keyboards. Now, I've got to say, this band have wrote some brilliant albums. Every album is very powerful, very dark, very progressive, with some gothic elements. So this new album contains 10 songs. I'm going to tell you what the song titles are for this new album. So we'd open up with They Will Let You Down, Where Do I Begin, A Lonely Path, Insidious, Crematory of Fire, Sounds of the Forgotten, Aftermath, When It All Falls Away, Opulent, and the last song would be called What Have You Done? So that's the song titles for this album. So I'm going to tell you what I think of the songs on the album and the production. First of all, the production of this album is second to none. It's very powerful, has some fantastic crisp guitar sounds, some brilliant drum sounds, and of course, Joseph Michael vocals are soaring high, just a bit like Rob Halford and Warrel Dane, a fantastic singer. Now, the label Deathwave Records has been put together by vocalist Joseph Michael. Now, the opening track, They Will Let You Down, is an absolute fantastic opener. It's very hairy, very technical. It very much reminds me of Nevermore, Psychotic Waltz, and also Death. It does have some elements of Cynic in there and Evergrey, but the power of this song is amazing. Joseph's vocals are absolutely on top form. Now, I've never seen this band live, but I have seen Joseph sing with Sanctuary. I would really like to see this band live, and I know they're touring very soon with Angry later this year around Europe. This is going to be a tour worth seeing. But the song in general is very powerful, very technical. Jake's guitaring is amazing. The rest of the band are really pulling through, but this is a fantastic opening song, folks. It's got a bit of Symphony X in there as well. Now, the next song is called Where Do I Begin? This is a great semi-ballad. Kind of reminds me of a cross between Nevermore and Psychotic Waltz. Joseph's vocals are really fantastic. The guitar playing and music around by all the members is also very strongly put together. And towards the end of the song, it does build up into quite a heavy, dark song. Next is a song called A Lonely Path. Now, this is only 1 minute, 33 seconds. It consists of keyboards, acoustic guitar and Josie's vocals. It's very dark, very sinister, but it's a really good, catchy little tune. Next is a song called Insidious. Now, this is pretty heavy in places. It almost has some death metal elements or maybe some black metal, but it's still very, very much progressive power metal. These bands have really done some really interesting ideas. Like I said, they do remind me of Nevermore and Psychotic Waltz in places, with the elements and the power of death. I'd also like to mention that this band do remind me in places of King Diamond, just the dark, eerie elements. Jake's guitar playing is absolutely fantastic. It very much reminds me of Mike Romeo and also Jeff Loomis, two fantastic guitarists, as we all know. Josie's vocals are very, very dark in places. It kind of remind me of King Diamond as well, but with his own style. It's not singing as high as King Diamond, as we all know, but it does have some very dark gothic elements. Next up is a song called Ceremony of Fire. This is a very heavy, brutal song. Like I say, it does have some death metal elements in there, but it's still very dark and heavy. Marco's drumming on this album is absolutely fantastic. It reminds me a little bit of Gene Hogan, also Sean Reinhart, two drummers that were also in the band Death. Every song on this album is faultless. It's a fantastic album, folks. I highly recommend that you buy this album, and I also highly recommend you check out the previous albums. Production's excellent, the songs are excellent, some fantastic vocals. All around, this is a brilliant album. I'm going to give this album 5 out of 5. I highly recommend it, folks. You won't go wrong if you like your progressive power metal with dark elements, with, of course, a bit of death metal music in there. Check it out, metalheads. It's by the band Witherfall, and the album's called Sounds of the Forgotten, released on Deathwave Records, released on the 31st of May this year. Check it out, metalheads. Enjoy the album and enjoy the link below. Thanks for watching. Stay metal.